Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome all to today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 8, verse 33. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Devataridam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Ure Mudha Loka Shuna Chaitanya Mangala Chaitanya Mahima Yate Jani Be Sakala. Ore, O all of you, Mudha foolish Loka people, Shuna just hear Chaitanya Mangala, the book of this name. Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya's Mahima glories, Yate, in which Janipe you will know Sakala all. O fools, just read Sri Chaitanya Mangal. By reading this book, you can understand all the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport: Vrindavan Das Thakur's Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat was originally entitled Sri Chaitanya Mangal, when Sri Lochan Das Thakur later wrote another book named Sri Chaitanya Mangal. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur changed the name of his own book, which is now therefore known as Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. The life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very elaborately described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has already informed us that in his Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita he has described whatever Vrindavan Das Thakur has not mentioned. This acceptance of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami indicates that his acceptance of the disciplic succession. A writer of transcendental literature never tries to surpass the previous acharyas. Okay, verse 34. Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kahe Vedavyas Chaitanya Lilara Vyasa Vrindavan Das. Krishna Lila, the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Bhagavate in the book Srimad Bhagavatam, Kahe tells Vyasadeva, the editor of the Vedic literatures, Chaitanya Lila of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, Vyasa, compiler, Vrindavan Das is Vrindavan Das. Translation: as Vyasadeva has compiled all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, Thakur Vrindavan Das has depicted the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Verse 35. Vrindavan Das Kaile Chaitanya Mangala Yanhara Shravane Nashe Sarva Amangala. Vrindavan Das Kaila compiled Chaitanya Mangala, the book named Chaitanya Mangal, Yanhara, of which Shravane, by hearing, Nashe, annihilated, Sarva, all, Amangala, inauspicious. Thakur Vrindavan Das has composed Sri Chaitanya Mangal. Hearing this book annihilates all misfortunes. Verse 36. Chaitanya Nitayara Yate Jani Mahima Yate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhantera Sima. Chaitanya Nitayara of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu, Yate, in which Jani one can know, Mahima all glories, Yate, in which Jani I understand, Krishna Bhakti of devotion to Lord Krishna, Siddhantera of the conclusion, Sima limit. Translation: by reading Sri Chaitanya Mangala, one can understand all the glories and truths of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and come to the ultimate conclusion of devotional service to Krishna. Purport: Srimad Bhagavatam is the authoritative reference book from which to understand devotional service, but because it is very elaborate, few men can understand its purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the original commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is called Nyaya Prasthana. It was written to enable one to understand the absolute truth through infallible logic and argument, and therefore its natural commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely elaborate. Professional reciters have created the impression that Srimad Bhagavatam deals only with Krishna's Ras Leela. Although Krishna's Ras Leela is described only in chapter 29 through 33 of the 10th canto, They have in this way presented Krishna to the Western world as a great woman hunter, and therefore we sometimes have to deal with such misconceptions in preaching. Another difficulty in understanding Srimad Bhagavatam is that the professional reciters have introduced Bhagavad Saptah or 7-day readings of the Bhagavatam. They want to finish the Srimad Bhagavatam in a week, although it is so sublime that even one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, if properly explained, cannot be completed in 3 months. Under these circumstances, it is great aid for the common man to read Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, for thus he can actually understand devotional service Krishna, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Srila Rupa Goswami has said, Shruti Smriti Purnadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Ekantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpad Taeva Kalpate. Devotional service to the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures, the Upanishads, Purans, Narad Panchatra, etc., is simply an unnecessary disturbance in the society. Due to misunderstanding, Srimad Bhagavatam, people are misled regarding the signs of Krishna. However, by reading Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's book, one can very easily understand this size. Verse 37, Bhagavate Yata Bhakti Siddhante Rasar Likhi Yachena Inha Jani Kariya Uddhar. Bhagavate in Srimad Bhagavatam Yata, all Bhakti Siddhantera in understanding devotional service, Sara essence. Likhiyachena has written in her this Jani I know, Kariya making Uddhara. Quotation. Translation in Sri Chaitanya Mangal, later known as Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has given the conclusion and essence of devotional service by quoting the authoritative statements of Srimad Bhagavatam. Verse 38, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Yadi Pasandi Yavana Siha Maha Vaishnav Haya Tatakshana. Chaitanya Mangala, the book named Chaitanya Mangal, Shune, anyone hears, Yadi, if Pasandi, great atheist, Yavana, a non-believer in the Vedic culture, Seha, he also, Mahavaishnav, great devotee, Haya, becomes the Takshana immediately. Translation, if even a great atheist hears Sri Chaitanya Mangal, he immediately becomes a great devotee. Verse 39, Manushye Rachite Nare Aiche Grantha Dhanya Vrindavan Das Mukhe Vakta Sri Chaitanya. Manushye, a human being, Rachite compiled, Nare cannot. Aiche, such Grantha book, Dhanya, so glorious, Vrindavan Das, the author, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, Mukhe, from his mouth, Vakta, speaker, Sri Chaitanya, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Translation, the subject matter of this book is so sublime that it appears that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally spoken through the writings of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Purport, Srila Sanatana Goswami has written in his Hari Bhakti Vilas, Avaishnav Mukhod Giranam Putam Hari Kathamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochistam Yathapaya. One should not hear anything about Krishna from a non-Vaishnav. Milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. Similarly, talks about Krishna given by a non-Vaishnav are also poisonous. Transcendental literature that strictly follows the Vedic principles and the conclusions of the Purans and Pancharatrika Vidhi can be written only by a pure devotee. It is not possible for a common man to write books on bhakti, for his writings will not be effective. He may be a very great scholar and he may be expert in presenting literature in flowery language, But this is not at all helpful in understanding transcendental literature. Even if transcendental literature is written in faulty language, it is acceptable if it is written by a devotee, whereas a so-called transcendental literature written by a mundane scholar, even if it is very highly polished literary presentation, cannot be accepted. The secret in a devotee's writing is that when he writes about the pastimes of the Lord helps him. He does not write alone. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Since the devotee writes in service to the Lord from within gives him so much intelligence that he sits down near the Lord and goes on writing books. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami confirms that what Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote was actually spoken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he simply repeated it. The same holds true for Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in his old age in an invalid condition, but it is such a sublime literature that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami used to say, the times will come when the people of the world will learn Bengali to read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are trying to present Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in English and do not know how successful it will be. But if one reads the original Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengali, he will relish increasing ecstasy in devotional service. Verse 40, Vrindavan Das Pade Koti Namaskar, Aiche Grantha Kari Tenho Tarila Samsar. Vrindavan Das Pade, unto the lotus feet of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, Koti millions Namaskar, obeisances, Aiche Sach Grantha book, Kari compiling Tenho He Tarila delivered Samsara all the world. Translation, I offer millions of obeisances unto the lotus feet of Vrindavan Das Thakur. No one else could write such a wonderful book for the deliverance of the fallen souls. So we'll continue our reading next time from verse 41 of chapter 8 of Adi Lila. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.